On the 544th day of the war in Ukraine, the fighting was concentrated in these areas. On Bakhmut front, Russian forces suffered another heavy defeat. With the arrival of their new reinforcements, the Russian army launched several counterattacks against the Ukrainian positions in the Klishchiivka and Synkivka sector. However, Ukrainian sources published this video where it appears that a Russian armored convoy consisting of 3 tanks and 3 armored fighting vehicles attacked the Ukrainian positions northwest of Klishchiivka. I geolocated this video, and the whole event seems to take place on the western hills, very close to the trench lines that are currently under the Ukrainian control. Looking at the movement of the Russian convoy, it seems that the Russian forces have carefully chosen the direction of their attack. First, the Russian forces decided to travel through a longer but much safer path. Russians avoided a direct attack from the east, since the terrain here is much more exposed and the Ukrainian forces are in control of positions not far from this area. As can be seen from these images, the Russian unit chose to move under the cover of the forests located northwest of Klishchiivka. This path was not only intended to guarantee their protection as they moved in a very dangerous area, but it would also negate the disadvantage Russians had with the Ukrainian forces positioned in the trench lines of the western heights on a higher ground than the nearby settlement. The Russian convoy moved quickly near the forest lines and headed towards the Ukrainian trench line. But it seems that the Ukrainian drones had spotted and followed the Russian armored unit along their way, and within a few seconds, a barrage of artillery shells fell on the Russian forces, hitting all the tanks and BMPs with impressive precision. Even one of the Russian armored vehicles that tried to travel separately to the right of the group received precise strikes from the Ukrainian artillery. The images confirm that at least 5 out of 6 armored units of the Russian forces were destroyed, 2 T-80 BV tanks as well as 3 BMP armored vehicles. If we look carefully at these photos, we can see that the tracks of the Russian tanks have been completely destroyed, which indicates that the Ukrainian forces have been well prepared for such attacks and have mined the entrances to the western heights of Klishchiivka. I remind you that this is not the only attack organized by Russian forces in the direction of Klishchiivka and Synkivka sector. Yesterday, another failed attack by the bakhmut special forces was reported taking place here. Meanwhile, just a few days ago, in another attack, Russian forces lost another large armored convoy near Synkivka, and in the same day, Russian infantry units who landed near Klishchiivka were completely eliminated by the 3rd Assault Brigade of the Ukrainian army. If we take a look at the verified losses on this area during the last 10 days, we will understand that this situation is not as sold by some sources that claim to be neutral. If we see the confirmed losses on this map, it is clear that the Russian forces are constantly losing large numbers of tanks, armored vehicles and personnel in the direction of Klishchiivka and Synkivka. And if we count the losses suffered in the rear caused by Ukrainian drones in the direction of the Odradivka-Zaitsevo line, we have no less than 20 destroyed tanks and armored vehicles just in the last 10 days alone. The real and unverified numbers should be even higher. So yes, there is a meat grinder in the Klishchiivka sector, and it seems that the Russian forces are sitting right in the middle of it. On Kupiansk front, today Russian sources continued to publish more fake news about the situation northeast of the front, near the village of Synkivka. Russian sources published this video where, according to them, Russian forces had already captured Synkivka and were traveling through the streets of the village. A few minutes later, it turned out that the video was actually from Severodonetsk, over 100 kilometers southeast of the initially reported area. On Zaporizhzhia front, according to Ukrainian sources, but also as confirmed by geolocated videos published by the Ukrainian media, Ukrainian forces are now very close to liberating Robotyne. The videos published today confirmed the presence of Ukrainian troops in the southern part of the village, where they are seen clearing the last remaining buildings under the Russian control. Although a statement by the Ukrainian official sources is needed to fully confirm the news, it is clear that the Ukrainian forces have continued their progress in this direction, slowly pushing Russians further south. Friends, if you like my daily updates, I kindly ask you to hit the like and subscribe buttons, as this will greatly help the channel to reach a wider audience. That's all for today's update. Thank you to my Patreon supporters, and have a great day.